And we are finally back with the 250 subscriber special for pitmarthroy, because I've been putting it off for a while and I was thinking, when could I post this video? When could I post it? Oh, how about now? Because we need to get this finished already. Because it's been sitting around for quite a while now, or at least by my standards, quite a while. So, time for the answers of the question and answers. I've also got a couple of my own questions, and then also some people in real life, like school friends or whatever, ask me questions, so I put those on here as well. But we're starting with the questions that people actually sent in, which is, number 1, what is the most nostalgic game for you and why? I'd have to say probably Majora's Mask, not just because it's an older game, because it came out in 2000, so by then I was only, 5 years old, so I'd say it's the most nostalgic game because it's kind of strange. Whenever I first got the game, because it was a lot darker, and like I said, I was only 5, I was too scared to play it, so I kind of, decided, I'll just stick with Ocarina of Time, and I played Ocarina of Time a few times through, and then when I was about 8 or 9, I was like, oh, hey, I remember, I should go play Majora's Mask, so I decided to play it again, and I was like, man, this is a lot better than Ocarina of Time, so it's nostalgic because I didn't play it as soon as I could have, but when I did, I realized that I missed out on a lot, and that's probably also my biggest regret ever in the history of video games, is not playing that game sooner. Because it definitely deserves the credit that it has. It is a very good game, so that and the fact that I probably have played that one the most, if not the most times through. Are there any characters in Brawl that you just hate and wish some omitted characters from Melee could replace them? Oh, jeez, you got no idea. I'm telling you. Getting rid of some of the Melee characters was not a bad idea, but getting rid of other ones was a horrible idea. For example, getting rid of Dr. Mario, that was probably a good call for the simple fact that that's a clone of Mario. I mean, they're both Mario, it's just Mario with a job, so they are exact clones. So, getting rid of Dr. Mario didn't really, I didn't lose any, like, oh my gosh, the world's gonna end, we lost Dr. Mario, or anything like that. Some people didn't really like having Pichu not be there anymore, but I really didn't mind the fact that they got rid of Pichu. That didn't really bother me too much. I guess Pichu sort of got replaced by the Pokemon trainer, but it's still not that big a deal to me. Let's see. Other people that got omitted. Young Link. Young Link wasn't my favorite character that got omitted, but it was one of my friend's favorite characters, and I didn't mind Young Link either. I really liked him, so I kind of wish they hadn't have gotten rid of Young Link. But Toon Link is kind of a clone of that. I don't know if either one's better. I mean, they're both pretty much the same, so it's not that big a deal, I guess. But the two that I really hated that they kicked out were Roy and Mewtwo, both. I do not like Ike at all. I don't like slow characters in any fighting game. I prefer fast characters. That's why I prefer Marth over Ike by a mile. Which is weird, because I like Ike in his own game, because he gets really good speed upgrades in his own games. Fire Emblem, Path of Radiance, and Radiant Dawn. So I kind of wish Roy had stayed in, or if not, at least have Ike, but still keep Roy. Because everybody's like, oh, but Roy was a clone of Marth. Oh, yeah, well, just change his moveset. There, he's not a clone anymore. It's not like Mario and Dr. Mario where they're the exact same person. Marth and Roy aren't the same characters. They're both from Fire Emblem, yes, but they're not both from Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon or anything like that. So I kind of wish Roy had stayed. And then you have Mewtwo, who got replaced by Lucario. Now, this is not where I draw the line. This is where a decision should have been made to get rid of another character and keep those two. So the overall Pokemon list should be Pikachu, obviously Pikachu, mascot. Pokemon Trainer, because, he replaced Pichu. Lucario and Mewtwo, but no Jigglypuff. We need to get rid of Jigglypuff because, yes, Jigglypuff was good for Event Match 51, but after that she's useless. You don't see her in the anime anymore because, she's not Generation 4 or 5 or even 3. I think she's Generation 1 Pokemon series. If not, it's 2, so she's an older set, and then she just doesn't have a good moveset. She's a lightweight. She doesn't really have any powerful moves other than Rest, but even Rest isn't as strong as it used to be, so there's just really no point for having Jigglypuff anymore. So I'd say keep Mewtwo in, keep Lucario, but get rid of Jigglypuff, because there's no reason to have Jigglypuff anymore. I mean, seriously, there's no point at all. Okay, so favorite Zelda mini-boss. I'd have to say probably Gomez from Majora's Mask, just because it's a cool boss fight and it's fun, and you actually have to use a little bit of strategy for it. Because for those of you that don't know, Gomez is basically a shadow creature surrounded by a whole bunch of bats, and you fire a light arrow at him, and that gets rid of the bats, which is essentially his shield. And then you slash him, but you have to do a vertical slash, not a horizontal one, or else you won't hit the little green orb on him. And you can only attack once, and he's got a whole bunch of really cool attacks with his scythe. So he's actually a really cool mini-boss. He is a little easy, but he's still pretty cool, so that's probably my favorite one. Out of random thought, my least favorite would probably be the Wizrobe, also from Majora's Mask, because you fight him so many times. I think like 6 overall, if you 100% the game, 6 or maybe even 7. But it's pretty ridiculous. Okay, I'm combining these two questions together because I think they're saying the same thing. So one of them is, are you thinking of doing a comedy video like from comedy parts from your videos? And then the other one says, do you think it's possible to do a best moments video? Assuming these are saying the same thing, I think it's possible to do a best moments video, but I probably won't be the one doing it. I'd say if a fan wants to do it, go ahead, but I'm not going to make a best moments video for myself, because that seems a little bit narcissistic. It's like, yeah, here are all my best moments, you know. It just seems narcissistic, and I'm not that kind of person, so if somebody else does it, fine, sure, I'll watch it and I appreciate it, but you don't have to or anything. But I would not be doing a best moments video for myself, honestly. I mean, I would, like, reminisce in a video of how something was really funny or whatever, but I wouldn't be doing a video all about that or anything like that. So now if you're saying like comedy video, the first one, if you're saying comedy video like doing some kind of thing where it's not a video game walkthrough or playthrough or LP or whatever, and just having like some kind of comedy thing, then probably not. I might, but I doubt it. So I wouldn't hold my breath over it unless a lot of people really want me to. The next one is, what is your favorite Pokemon out of the first 493? I wouldn't know what my favorite one is, so I'm just going to list like 4 or 5. So, the Cyndaquil evolutions, Cyndaquil, Quilava, Typhlosion, because that was the first Pokemon I ever chose whenever I played Silver. Riolu and Lucario. Who else? Probably also the Totodile evolution, Totodile, Croconaw, and Feraligatr. The Trico evolutions, Trico, Grovyle, Sceptile. Gengar, Haunter, and Ghastly. And that's pretty much it overall. My favorite type overall, I usually pick something like Grass for a starter, and then overall types after that are usually like Ice or something like that. Or Dark, maybe. Let's see. What was the first video game you remember playing? It depends. If you count a computer game as a video game, because the first actual game that, I ever played was on a computer, so that doesn't really count, I guess. But if you're talking about any game at all, a computer game, it would actually be just some random online game. I can't remember what it was, but it wasn't like a online multiplayer game. It was just a single-player thing. If you mean an actual video game, though, the first one I can remember playing was Mario Kart Super Circuit for the Game Boy Advance when I was 9. That's as far back as my memory can go for that. But there's probably one I played before then, so. But that's just the one I remember from the earliest of my childhood. Let's see. What characters do you want in the new Smash Bros. Game? Well, I've already said I want Mewtwo and Roy back, so. Saying what new characters do I want? I'd want to have Crystal from Star Fox, because I like using Fox and Valco, so I like having a lot of Star Fox characters, so I would say Crystal. I'm not sure about Bomberman or Mega Man. Maybe. I don't know about that for sure. Knuckles from the Sonic series, that'd be kind of cool, just because, have more than one Sonic character. Maybe one or two F-Zero characters. I don't like having just one character from their own series and no other characters. I like having at least 2 of them. So, yeah. Maybe Dixie Kong or Daisy, but then that would risk having, clones of Diddy Kong and Peach, respectively. But I do think there needs to be more female fighters, just because, there's like, how many females? Like Zelda, Samus, and the Pink Ice Climber, if you even count that. So it's more like 2.5. So I don't know if you really count that or not. Oh, and Peach, so 3.5. But still, So let's see. What is your favorite video game of all time? Still, like I said, most nostalgic game. It's still Majora's Mask. If I had to pick a different game, though, I'd say probably one of the Fire Emblem games, maybe Radiant Dawn or Shadow Dragon, something like that. I do like a lot of racing games, though, like Mario Kart. Even the arcade ones that you would actually go to an actual arcade, like, Final Drive Nitro and all that. I like those games, too. I'm a big fan of racing games. What game have you spent the most time on? If I had to guess, just out of remembering, I'd probably say Radiant Dawn, just because I've played it through so many times, and it is a pretty long game. So, I've played it through like 6 or 7 times. So, overall, probably that, maybe one of the Mario Karts or Majora's Mask, just messing around. Something like that. Okay, so these are my own questions. What game are you playing next? These are just kind of things I want to discuss. Usually, I won't know. Like, even I won't know. I have, like, a little list occasionally. I'll put up a list. I'm like, okay, I don't want to do that. I'll go with that one. But right now I am working on replays, which if you're watching this in the future, that might already be dead and gone by now, and I'm not doing replays anymore. But I'll do replays if I think a game really needs to be replayed, like whenever I use the camera, or it just wasn't, laid out well at all, anything like that. But as for what I'm playing next, I usually don't know myself. I'll usually pick something, that I just feel like I want to play for a little while, and then that's usually how it starts. And it's something I'm obviously at least decent at. Why do you use perfect grammar even though you don't have to? Well, that's just because I'm a writer. A lot of people ask me why I always do that, even though, you can just use the letter U for saying the word you, or stuff like that. You don't have to capitalize the I or whatever. But that's just why. So, who else would you recommend watching? Obviously Nintendo Capri Sun, because, he's awesome. So why wouldn't you watch him? Obviously, anybody I've got up on that list on my channel of, my best friends / co-op channel / athletes / all that stuff. So, Brandman 5000 or anything like that. So, anything I've got a subscription to, there's probably at least one reason for it, but most of the time it's probably, if you looked at all my subscriptions and saw who was doing what, you'd probably know who, like, Voltage McGammer, Shadow Mario, Madame Wario, Josh Jepson, people like that. So that would probably be who I'd recommend watching. Who inspired you? Obviously Nintendo Capri Sun did, because, he's hilarious. A lot of people think I'm as good as him, but they're wrong. I'll never be as good as Tim, because he is awesome at what he does. He's incredible. I wish I would be as lucky to be half as good as he is. If you could talk to... Actually, no, wait. This is one of the other ones I skipped. This is one of my friend's questions. If you could talk to any 3 video game characters, who would they be? Well, Link can't talk, so I'm going to exclude him right off the bat. I'd say Marth from Fire Emblem, Fox from Star Fox series, and maybe Lucas from Mother series, Mother 3, just because Lucas is a pretty awesome character. So, what advice do you have for trolls and or haters? And yes, we're into the friends question now. Just ignore them. I mean, if you've got, like, my channel's got 260-something subscribers right now. If you've got, like, 5 or 6, then maybe you should address it. But if it's just, like, 1 guy or 2 guys, just ignore them. Because they won't get the attention they want, so eventually they'll just go away. What game should I LP first? Now, this could practically have its own video if I wanted it to, but I don't want it to. But there's pretty much 3 main things you need to know for it. It needs to be, A, a game you can say, yeah, I'd have fun playing through at least about 75% of the time. It's a game you would enjoy playing. B, it definitely needs to be a game that you know at least most of the stuff in it, maybe not like every little secret, but you need to know enough to be able to get through the game, so you have to play it through a few times, get a handle on it, all that stuff. And the last one, and this is really important, is try not to pick a game that everybody has done, like Super Mario 64 or Ocarina of Time. Try to pick something a little bit out there. When I did Super Mario Sluggers, it got a lot of views really fast because a lot of people didn't play that one, or hadn't Let's Played that, and that's why it got so many views, is because mine was probably one of the overall better ones just because of the quality or whatever. So that's probably why. So I'd say pick a game, because there's at least one person that's done your video game that you're going to decide to choose, but try to pick one that's not too blatantly obviously been done over and over and all that. Okay. Would LPing a whole series be the best option, or only specific ones? For those of you that don't understand what they're saying, like if you played Legend of Zelda, Zelda 2, and then Link to the Past, would you want to play all the rest of the Zelda games for your channel? You know, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Oracle games, Twilight Princess, all that. It could be a good option if you want to, but keep in mind, it's in the end, it's your decision. So play ones that you're good at, and once again, play ones that you enjoy playing. So not necessarily just specific ones you like. And if you don't have any way of recording them, like the DS games or whatever, then don't bother with it. And the last question is, should I take advice from others every time or make my own decisions? It kind of depends, like, advice on how to make this look better, like your quality look better, or add a sidebar or whatever. Sure, I'd take it into account, but when it comes to something like, you should do this game next, don't immediately say, okay, even if you've never played the game. So definitely take others' advice into consideration, but in the end, it's still your decision because it's your channel. So, and always make sure that it's not, stuff like, this is the worst channel ever, so you should be doing this instead. But, have it be at least courteous. If it's somebody just being a troll, then just ignore them, like I said. So, yeah, so those are all the questions. Thank you guys for sending those in. So, I will decide what else to do for the next little set right here. I do have a melee match, just a random one with no commentary, just put up here on my computer. So I'll probably post that as well, just as part of it, just because I was bored. So yeah, I will see you guys later.